We are back in the ring. We're going to open up an AEW figure, my first one of Chris Jericho. I'm not an avid AEW watcher, but I wanted this figure because this is Jericho's more modern look from the time he also went to New Japan Pro Wrestling in recent years and wrestled in Japan. And his jacket and look and hair and appearance and hat and wrestling gear and everything kind of matches up with that. So we're going to open it up and see if that fits into my brand new kind of Japan wrestling collection that I'm kind of starting. I'm going to take advantage of the AEW line with this Chris Jericho. So let's open him up here. So step one, how does one open an AEW figure? Looks like they went pretty standard on the packaging. Just a couple taped tabs on the side. Like Marvel Legends, a lot like the Elite WWE. Not to be confused with All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Of course, this was already damaged in transit anyway, because that's how the shipping goes these days. Alright, that scarf is cloth. Gloved hands, which is good for his entrance, which is probably how I'll display this with his entrance stuff. Limited edition hat! Of course, right away the jacket is like a stiff plastic, so you can't pose him in the jacket. He's just going to have to stand there like a goof. Looks like inside they actually have a kind of a plastic sleeve so that this jacket, you know, staying on the skin isn't going to bleed into it, so that's pretty smart. That's pretty nice, the little sleeves there that we're going to prevent that from having the black leave a mark on his arms in the packaging. So hopefully you'll never end up with a bad Chris Jericho there. Here's his scarf. Since this is a modern Jericho, it has all his tattoos. Joints are a little different because this is a new company. You know, they were doing the Fortnite figures, I believe, before this. So the skin looks a little different, a little weird, more toy-like, but the face is pretty spot on there. Finger face, yeah, this has all his newer tattoos here. It's a hat. The jacket is pretty soft in the middle part, and then the sleeves are very hard, so I probably will display him with it on just because it is pretty cool. And what I'm going to want to do here is probably do a custom job on here with his face and give him his face paint from when he was the Painmaker in Japan. Kind of a play on the Rainmaker Okada in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jericho called himself the Painmaker, and I feel like this figure pretty much has the attire and gear, just lacks the face paint. So that'll be a cool project. Here we have some WWE made figures. We have the Entrance Greats Jericho, which is like 1999 kind of era. We got kind of a 2009, 2010 Jericho. And so 10 years later, 2020 Jericho. You can see he does kind of get some thicker. He is bulkier now, and even in the face you can see. So the AEW figures do seem to match up with the WWE figures pretty well as far as the scale and size, because Jericho has become kind of more of a heavyweight wrestler now from his more lighter weight days starting out. But it is kind of funny, you have 1999, 2000, you know, 10 years, we got 30 years of Jericho here. Well, or 20. I'm not good with math. Yeah, I had other examples ready here, but for the most part I would say AEW figures are going to match up with the WWE, so good to know if you want to do any kind of fantasy mix-ups and things. And for me, I'm going to kind of meld my collection together for the most part. So what we'll do with old Jericho here, he does have the interchangeable hands, so here he could look like he's going with the kind of serial killer look there with his gloves. This looks a little scary. But we'll get him in full entrance gear here. Probably have to do the scarf, tuck that around his hair first before we go through all the rigmarole for the jacket, because that's gonna be rough to get back on here, but we can do it. Doing it for the fans. I'm not doing it for the Rock, okay? Also, long-term displaying this, if I put it with the jacket, I might save these little plastic sleeves and get that back in there just to protect that if I ever want to display it without the jacket and stuff. The problem is his hair is pretty big. You'll have to kind of pick it up and move it around to get the jacket in place. But there we have scarf, jacket, gloves, and of course slap on that fedora. kind of his more rock star look, just because he is in his band, Fozzy, and then that's his entrance music now, since he can't use his WWE music that he's had for a long time. Just use his band's music, one of his songs. And then Modern Jericho, you know, he kind of has that Judas elbow, just kind of a spinning back elbow. I assume that's kind of him developing a very simple finishing moves because he intends to be wrestling for a long time. So even in old age, where he's not going to be doing a whole lot of flipping around or doing some of his older moves and holds, that he'll have that backup Judas elbow. I start to develop that, and clearly he intends to wrestle for many years to come, so pretty interesting. So this is more for my Japan collection that I'm starting to develop into the Chris Jericho that would go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and take on some of their top wrestlers like Tanahashi and things like that, so pretty cool. And then I think I will add the Painmaker face paint. I mean, it should be pretty simple, right? Just black. We'll either show that now or we'll show that later, but if now, let's check that out right now. Never done a video showing me doing a custom job, but hopefully this looks okay for you. Do his Painmaker style make. He has a couple variations, so just gonna kind of do one of those normal looking ones. I just use the old school toothpick because I don't have much else I need to be using. And the best part is, if I kind of screw it up, I think I'll probably be able to scratch off some of the paint and give it a second try anyway. So again, we're looking at it zoomed in super close, so once you get it on your shelf, look at it. It's not gonna show the imperfections that obviously I will have here by the end of this. I'm sure I already have. Just good. But I think it's gonna look cooler like this when he has his entrance gear on, if I just leave it untouched. Get a little black there, a little bit coming out this way. And when I kind of do imperfections, I can actually wait for it to dry just a little bit, and I can scratch away some of the spots that kind of didn't go where I wanted or ended up too thick. Alright, now the scarier part here. Yeah, I'm going to scratch away some of this black just because it is a little uneven in things, but we're just going to get one done here just to show you, the viewer. The hard part is going to be his lips, because this is an open mouth. This is going to be dangerous as heck, because I don't want to get it on his mouth, and I don't want it to look like a mustache or something weird. You gotta be real careful. Just get this. And once this is on the shelf, and you're not looking at it so closely, I think it'll look a lot better than you're seeing every little imperfection zoomed in. I mean, every imperfection on the retail figure, too. I mean, look at this, his teeth have like pink on them. I mean, yeah, nobody's perfect, so relax. Just for my collection, so it's what I wanted to do. I want to do it poorly, I will. Well, again, not the perfect, but it ain't bad either. I'll let that dry, and I'll see if I can kind of scratch some of the bigger bits and things off, and we'll take a good close look at him after the Painmaker.